friend, someone that we can talk to, that can listen. Sometimes they might even have good advice, but sometimes just through talking it out, clarity begins to emerge. That's what we have in TRC, the Tanya Rabbi community, that people just share. And sometimes on their own, the clarity is just there by the fact that they share. Sometimes, others can add something, a little nugget of wisdom. But just by the fact that you share, that brings together greater clarity in our lives. So, important. Make sure you have a friend that you can share with. And, of course, in the Tanya Rabbi community, we have become that. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad in Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We share with Michael in Germany. Terrence TJ is in Melbourne, Australia. Bob in Morocco. We have with us John in North Carolina, June in Australia, Amy, she's in Colorado likewise, Clem in Brisbane, Australia, Roxy is in New Jersey, Rusty, Texas, Jane is in the Philippines, oops, what did I miss over here? Michelle is in, to remind me, Celeste Chava in Colorado, Eugenia in Calgary, and Mark in Santa Rosa, California. We have Marcy, Michael, Celeste, Vilma, Clubhousers. We have Instagrammers. Akoy in Lima, Peru. We have Natalie in England. We have Edna with us. Hamid in Montreal. Carlos in Brazil. We have Eliza in Florida. Sylvia in New York. Rachel in South Carolina. Rafael in New York. Going to be visiting Montreal soon. You have to come by and please say hello. Jan in Mexico. Diane in Arizona. David in California. Michelle is in the Philippines. In Hungary, we have Rosa. Dana in Washington State. And I sent you a message yesterday. I don't know if you got it for TRC. Probably need your email. That would be good. Eileen in Las Vegas and Rena in Colorado. Okay, beautiful. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to be at peace? When are you at peace? We say rest in peace, so hopefully that's not the only place that we find peace. A little while back, I was visiting somebody, and his mother was the receptionist at the business, a 90-year-old lady, full of life, drove herself to work back and forth, and I was, wow, this is amazing. So starting a conversation, asked her where did she live, so she says, where she lives, and I says, no, that's not where you live. She looks at me a little funny, like, when I'm challenging her on where she lives, like I'm thinking that, her mind is going. She's sharp. She says, no, that's where I've been living last 25 years. She says, no, that's not where you're living. So now she looks at me and smiles and says, you live right here. What's in your between your ears? That's where you live. What's in your head? Peace is going to be something that will be in our minds, in our hearts, and that's where peace will be. So, we say that the act of charity will bring peace. The act is not the service of charity. The act, as we learned, means that through being charitable, we bring a light of God, and it creates peace. But where it creates peace is on high. I say shalom b'mraimav. God makes peace on high between the angel, the ministering angel Michael, on our right, the embodiment of chesed, of kindness, and on the left between Gabriel, who is the ministering angel of Gavura, of judgment. So through the act of giving, when we give in a manner of, it's our nature to give, we do it instinctually, then we create peace, but only on high. We don't create it down here, because the form of giving was a natural form of giving. What was comfortable for us to give, what we are inclined by our natural selves to give. Now, when will that giving actually produce peace down here? Only when all evil will be eradicated from this world, meaning the ultimate time, times of Mashiach. But during exile, it's not going to create peace down here, except at a certain time of day, and that is during our prayers. And that was the idea that the sage said in the Talmud, Rabbi Lazar, that he would give charity and then behold the countenance of God. Right? So what does that mean? It means that by being charitable, we create peace in the time of prayer, meaning that I won't have a disturbance in my heart and in my mind of warring factors within me trying to get my attention. I'll be able to focus on my prayers. I'll be able to connect to Hashem through my prayers. But it will only remain at that time in my prayers. Go in the kitchen. You'll see the wires are in.
But I don't know what you did. I don't know what changed. Why is it in the kitchen?
Because they're working from the kitchen. They need it in the kitchen. You know, I'm live here.
I'll figure it out.
Okay. So that peace, right, where negativity isn't, bouncing off us as during the rest of the day, because when you're involved in the world's got a lot of negativity that it's going to affect us. But during prayer, because we gave the charity first, so it brings a light of God in our prayers. We can be subsumed in the connection that the negativity won't be so prominent, so alive. It'll be kind of back burner, but only back burner, because after we finish our prayers, it easily awakens itself. Why? Because my giving before prayers was just a natural form of giving. I didn't exert myself. I didn't go above and beyond. However, When charity is practiced by self-imposed toil, meaning on the level of avodah, of service, right? In other words, you're giving more than what you're comfortable, maybe much more than you're comfortable. The more you give that you're not comfortable, the more lofty that giving is, meaning you're giving beyond that natural inclination. So because you overcame your nature, why did you do that? In deference to the supreme will of God, to do what God needs. Then the glory of God, of the Holy One, blessed be, will be such a divine light, such a superior light, that it can transform the darkness into light. Which means that now when I pray, or such an individual prays, right, the negativity is not just back burner, it's still there, but it won't be awakened so easily. Because when you bend, when the tree is bent this way, when you are bent this way, this is the way you're bent. So on that bent is what you give. That's what your comfort. That's where you're at. But if you bend the tree the opposite direction, out of its comfort zone, you're stretching it. So now you're stretching the divine light of God, that it's now going to illuminate the individual in their prayers, that it'll illuminate them in such a way that you've bent to eradicate the darkness from within you by going beyond your natural inclination of giving and how much you gave. And as a result, now in your prayer, that light will illuminate not just during your prayers, but it will continue to illuminate, as the verse says, quietness and surety forever. And the word quietness comes from the word dregs, hashket, sheket, like sheket bivakasha, quiet please. Right, it comes from sheket, which means the rest of the dregs, which means to separate between the dregs, that you get a clear wine. Right, that's in other words, quietness is when there's clarity, right? The head's quiet, there isn't a lot of clamor going on over there, a lot of things vying for your attention. So that quietness means that there's a clear, pure, clear, here in the dregs of the wine, of all separated to the bottom, and now you have clear, pure wine at the top. So this is the idea of the service of charity. That's the metaphor that's used. That the dregs of our personality, the negativity of our personality, the evil that we have within us, right? The self-directed, things that are all about, my animal soul. Well, that gradually becomes extricated and separated and falls away, right? Falls away from the individual. And this is the idea that what we say, and you will cast all their sins into the depths of the sea, right? This is something that we say on by Tashlich, on Rosh Hashanah, by the water that we're taking and separating it from us. And this is then what happens in your prayers when you bend yourself, beyond what your comfort in the comfort zone is in your giving, called the service of giving. Then in the prayers that we engage in thereafter will also be with a quietness, with an assurity that will last. What will last? The light in my soul. Just like I gave by bending myself, by bending the darkness and making more room for the light. So that light will stay with me now, not just in prayers, but more likely to stay throughout the day. And with that, we conclude the 12th letter. Very powerful. We're always speaking about being charitable because the things that I have bring me comfort, bring me pleasure, bring me a sense of value, power, and therefore makes it hard to give up. I'll give my time often much more readily because time is an abstract thing. It's not a physical, material thing. So we waste a lot of time because it's not so emphatic in our lives, right? Only when we waste a lot of time, then we oh my gosh. But things, money, that we hold on to. Sometimes we hold on to dear life. It's hard to give it up. And even when we do, we usually will do the act of giving, which will be wonderful, but it will be within our comfort zone, with what we're naturally inclined to give, and that's fine. That's wonderful. And of course, then there's the more powerful form of giving, beyond what we're comfortable, more than what I expected to give. So by doing that, I'm making room in that place of mine, expanding me to make more room for the divine light to enter in me from above. And that divine light will be experienced in my prayers. And not only my prayers, but beyond that, because I extended myself, so the divine light extends itself within me. Which is beautiful. All right. Marcy, please share with us.
So I was thinking, and there may be another reason why it feels easier to give of our time. When we give of our time, we see the impact that it has. And when we give of our money, it feels so distant, right? I mean, and I'm not saying that money doesn't have an impact. And I'm not saying that people don't hoard money. But
right.
Like that immediate feeling of I've done something. Like I remember like buying a car, and I remember thinking when I handed over the check, this should take longer. Like I took a lot longer to earn this money than I did to hand it over to somebody else.
Right.
It should be more. And when you volunteer, when you do stuff for other people, that takes more time and it feels more personal.
Right. Yeah. Unless, of course, you directly are giving to somebody, and through that, that you're able to help them directly in that moment, which usually doesn't happen. Sometimes it does. I somewhat felt it yesterday because someone reached out to me who was in, very dire need. Although it was, an e-transfer, so didn't even feel like I gave money. It felt like I had it in my hand and gave it, so that's like, oh, like it's in your hand and you give it, so you feel, that you're really giving something. I made an e-transfer, and it doesn't feel the same way. But yeah, no, I hear it. You're right. When you're giving your time and you sense that impact, giving money, not necessarily you're going to feel that impact, and that makes a difference. That's true. Yep, thank you for sharing that. Rachel, or Alice, Marcy, you have anything else to add?
Nope. Go to the real questions.
Oh, no, maybe that's it. Alice. Seems easier for me to give tzedakah than davening. Doesn't require time, concentration, and intensity. Right. So that was the first form of giving. The act of giving is giving that which we're comfortable. Of course, prayer. There's no comfort in prayer, so to speak, because if you know that you're standing before God, then there's a reverence that you have. In reverence, it's not a comfort, right? Comfort, you put your feet up on the table to be comfortable. I mean, so to speak, right? Meaning, you slouch back, but we're standing before the King. You're, reverence. So you're right. Prayer is not going to be a comfort zone, so to speak. Now, it may be comforting because you feel and you sense that you're speaking to God and God's listening. Fine. So but that's in the prayer itself. But to come to prayer and in the state of being, so to speak, is more of reverence. It's not so easy to be reverent. It's easier to be irreverent, right? Much easier. All right. Anything else? All right. I don't see any other questions. Beautiful. All right, folks. We're going to do Rambam now. How amazing it is that we've been doing Rambam, and so much of it has been coming up in the Parsha. Right? Like today, what we learned, Shema Meiser. All right, folks. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you. Tanya, have an amazing, wonderful day. God bless you.